statistic is in 1990, median age for the baby boomer was 35. And they owned 1/3 of the property, homes in the United States. Today, millennials is the largest, baby boomers was the largest segment of the population then. Today, millennials is the largest segment of the population. At the median age, I think, of 32, they only own 4% of the property in the United States. So the opportunity is incredible for this generation, and we'll get into what's a millennial, but it's just important to know that this is the biggest segment of population, but it's the one that's poised to buy, first-time home buyers, in some cases second or third, but and that's the reason it's so important to understand who they are, what they want, what are they looking for. So in 2019, the third paragraph, the NRA reported that millennials were responsible for 37% of the homes sold in the US and 66% of the first-time home buyers. So 66% of the homes are sometimes you'd expect, because they're between 21 and 39 years old. But this was written in it's a newer publication. It's called Porch, and it was written in the Millennial Buying Trend Report. This is really interesting because only 3 weeks ago I was talking about millennials, not disparaging, but in a different light. Until I read this, and then I read some other articles. But you hear things about millennials, and this is what we're going to be talking about here in this report. Millennials are frequently portrayed as millions of narcissistic, irresponsible, I love this, smartphone-wielding kids who live in their parents' basements and reject all the trappings of adult life.
Wow, aggressive.
What's that?
Sorry, Lindsay.
Where did we get this reference from?
Yeah.
But with each passing year, these assumptions are looking more and more outdated. Why? Millennials have new needs as they are growing older. Not only are millennials becoming more financially secure, starting to have children, etc., they're also increasingly committed to one of the most fundamental rituals of American adulthood, owning their own home. Lindsay is a good example. She's a millennial. Within the last year, is it okay? Is this two-person?
No. No, I bought a house a year ago
Yeah.
and got married in October. So big life stages, and got a puppy.
And she got a puppy.
You got a puppy.
No, that's not in the report,
child.
but everything
It
else.
should be, 'cause
It
it's a
should
big
be.
deal, because most people are getting dogs definitely first before kids.
Yeah.
And it's like the starter family, is to
There
get a
you
dog
go.
first.
That's good, I gotta put that in.
Can
Yeah.
we raise a dog
Definitely.
together?
Like,
If we can, we're
100%.
It
good.
used to be killing a plant.
Like
Now
getting
it has
a-
to be
yeah.
like, can you get
Yeah.
a dog to not crap in your house?
Well, it's like people are
Yeah,
getting
you have a
dogs.
We're
chance
still
of
working
being a
on
good
that.
parent.
They're
Yeah.
getting dogs and before
Preparing,
kids, you
they're
know?
preparing, they're nesting.
Yeah.
So to go on, millennials' taste in material circumstances distinguish them from home buyers and other generations. But there are remarkable similarities between millennials and older generations when it comes to home ownership. If we want to understand the modern economy and housing market, it's time to drop the complacent assumptions, and a lot of those I had made myself about millennials, and understand who they really are. Before we do that, we need to identify the different generations that preceded the millennial generation, as well as who the millennial is. So millennials there's two groups of millennials. There's the young and old millennials. The young millennials are from 21 to 28 years old, born between 1992 and 1999. Old millennials are 29 to 39 years old, born between 1991 and 1981. So everyone between 1981 and 1999, at that birth range, are millennials. Young millennials represented 11% of buyers, and old millennials 26% of buyers in the US in 2019, for a total of 37% of buyers. Young and old millennials represented 66% of first-time homebuyers, which I had mentioned before. So it's, they're significant in the buyer pool. Generation X, stand up Phil, is 39 to 53 years old,
I'm
represented.
Generation X.
Huh?
I'm Generation X. I'm 51. You're younger than I am. How old are you?
I'm 44.
He's
hard to
right in
say.
the mid-range.
Range.
Generation X represented 24% of buyers. Again, millennials were 37% of buyers. Generation X represented the largest generation of sellers, which you did kind of expect, at 25%. They represented the largest percentage of sellers trading up to a larger home. So we think, okay, nobody's buying up, everybody's moving down. But the Gen X is the one generation that is still moving up. Generation X buyers were the most racially and ethically diverse population, with 25% identifying they were a race other than white, Caucasian. I actually thought it would have been more than that.
Yeah.
And then it's the generation with the largest median income, 111,000 in 2017, and that's up from 105,000 in 2016. So that's just to give you a little background of the Generation X. Baby boomers, which I am one of, young baby boomers between 54 and 63 years old. Old baby boomers, 64 to 72 years of age. Young baby boomers represented 18% of the buyers. Remember, Gen X was 24, and the millennials was 37. Young baby boomers represented 8% of buyers, and old boomers, 14% in the US in 2019, for a total of 32%. Old baby boomers represented the second largest number of sellers at 22%, which you'd expect, that mid-range. They've been working for, God bless them, for 20 years or so, and they're buying and selling property. Silent generation is ages from 72 to 93 years of age. They represented only a total of 7% of buyers in the US, represented largest number of sellers downsizing and purchasing a smaller, less expensive home than they sold. So you'd expect that, no surprises really in the silent generation, but still important to point out the significant portion of buyers that the millennials represent, and the significant percentage of sellers that the Generation X represents. So what I'm going to do is, this is going to be fun, I hope. I'm going to give you we're going to do a quiz, and it's on data from the NRA, and it's actually data on all of the generations that we just talked about, from millennials up to silent generation. I just pulled out data that pertain to millennials. So as I go through the questions, just raise your hand. There's no right or wrong, and there's usually the report. If you'd like to see it, it's great. The NRA did it. There's probably 50 questions, and they'll have question, and then they'll have what the most important, second most important, third most important, then it'll talk about the percentage in each of the generation. It's really interesting. So first one is, and this is under how well do you know the millennial market? Primary reason for millennials purchasing a home is a desire to own a home of their own. Is that true or false?
I would think that's true.
True. Nicely done. No, this is the easy one I always do. This is always the first one. The second most important reason was desire for a larger home. That's millennials, which is really surprising. So the second most important reason for millennial purchasing a home is for a larger home.
That
So we're
part
okay.
surprises me.
Yeah, me too. Number 2, the reason millennials buy, it shouldn't say, it should just say buy a new home, is for green energy efficiency, true or false? False.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think it's taxes and to be move along in their time in life.
No, they don't wanna deal with DIYs, I think.
They don't want to deal with what?
DIYs, like fixer uppers?
Yes.
That's what I think.
That's coming up, but that's good point.
So what's the reason millennials buy?
Oh, no, that you nailed it. Wow, that's right. 63%.
Good morning.
Hello, Shapar, how are you?
Sorry for being late.
63%
Don't want to fix her up there.
to avoid renovations or problems with plumbing or electricity. Good work.
Dude, I'm
Wow.
A lot of HDT.
Yeah.
Yeah, so only 21%. Do you have a couple more? Oh, here, I got it.
I apologize.
That's all right. Have to
Well,
stay after school.
my son's in Rome with Corona and blah, blah, blah.
Oh.
Not them with Corona, but the problem there is, oh, heck,
Yeah, it's a second. What's
Rome
it?
is horrible.
Yeah, I heard that.
Anyways,
So where was I? So I just find it interesting, green efficiency. I would have thought, oh, that's the up and coming and everybody wants green energy, but no, that's not the case. They want to avoid, they don't want it, the fixer-upper.
They don't have time.
They have time. Thank you. And they're both, if they're married,
Time.
both are working,
Double
and they have a
income.
dog, because
That's
the
taking
dog's gonna last
all
forever.
their time.
Yeah,
And also, when you have a newer appliances, they actually save energy.
yeah,
If you use a really old one,
Yeah,
it
super
needs a lot
energy
of electricity.
good point. All right, number 3, which type of home is purchased the most? Detached, single family, or condo, townhome?
Millennials. Common townhome.
where are you?
Oh. we'll
In
come-
California or?
No, this is the NRA.
Oh, I would say probably a condo townhome.
Any-
No?
Okay.
Is that right?
What was the question?
Oh, you are looking at
Wrong.
something that I've already done. So
Oh,
number
okay,
3
sorry.
here.
Okay.
Surprisingly, it's single-family home
Is it?
detached,
Oh,
84%. The reason I brought that is I was really surprised. I would have thought it would have been close to 50-50. So condo, townhome was only 8.5%, and other, whatever other was the remaining.
I would guess that maybe in California,
Yes.
Yeah,
Southern
depending on
California,
what size.
Correct.
it would be condo town.
That's why I asked.
That's
Like
right.
everyone
So-
wants detached, but as far as price. goes,
Affordability and
Yeah.
So understand, this is a national study, and a lot of the things that.
I wonder what the number is in California. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
No,
interrupt you.
that would be interesting.
I would just be,
I will search that and see if I can find
because
it.
where we live, there's not room to put that type of stuff up. Like what in Encinitas, they're coming to everybody saying, put an accessory dwelling unit on your property if you own, because we have no place to put.
Right. It's,
I think mostly they will move inland because coastal
Yes.
in California is very expensive.
Yes.
But they most probably will go inland.
yeah, because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
This is a good one. Which environmentally friendly features are considered the most important? And appliances was one of them. I didn't pick that one out as, A, have to remember the A, B, and C. Environmentally friendly community features. 2, or B, solar panels. C, commuting costs.
Solar.
All of the above.
Well, there it is all about the above, but what percentage? What's number 1?
4.
Friendly community feature, solar panels, commuting costs.
Solar.
Solar?
Commuting costs.
What is
Oh.
this?
Because
Commuting
they,
costs.
yeah, now this is an important thing
Yeah.
to remember from the presentation is millennials want to be close to work and they want to be close to schools, to all that convenience. Very different than all the other generations. They want, and they want to minimize energy use, so it's kind of, the solar panels is important to see. I don't know where solar.
Probably my generation more.
All right, Commuting costs was 40%, chose that. So, environmentally friendly community features, 7%.
7.
Yeah, and solar panels, it was only 2%.
Which is
I
so
think
funny,
really
isn't
good,
it? You don't
because
save
this is
as much.
nationwide stuff.
That's right, if
And
it's
solar
California,
panel is really for like
Yeah.
coast, like Southern California, or California, but not apply to the entire country.
you're right, that's a very, very good point. Number 5, this could be anywhere, not just California. First step millennials generally take during their home buying process. A, contacting a real estate agent. B, looking online for information about the home buying process. C, looking online for properties for sale.
See,
See.
C, we all know that was obvious.
the more
But-
fun thing first.
What isn't obvious is what's number 2? A or
Probably
B?
looking online for information about the home buying process.
Well,
No, that's not
You're
right.
good, yeah, you're right.
I would do anything
I
about
was
looking
surprised
online.
by that, I really was. I thought contacting a real estate agent would have been higher. I don't mean to cast
No.
aspersions on real estate,
what
it's
is the
just,
percentage of this one? Or
Hmm?
what was the percentage of the
C was number 5.
yeah, but how many percent?
Oh, 45%, almost half. Where do buyers find the home they purchased? A,
Online.
internet, B, friend, relative or neighbor, C, real estate agent.
Online.
Yeah.
Internet.
Friends.
62%. Real estate agents, 24%. And friend, relative, or neighbor, 6%. So what's important to know there is, and we've all heard, I mean, 98% of millennials are on the internet, but 62% actually find their home. Then they find an agent, and then they buy the home. So, number 7, most difficult steps of home buying process is saving the down payment. True or false?
True.
That's what I'd say.
True.
False.
Is it qualifying?
False.
Is it qualifying? Is that the most?
Finding the right property is more important. And there's another answer that's going to surprise you. That's the first really surprising answer that
Okay.
I found. False. Only 25% was a difficult step was saving for the down payment. Only 25%. Finding the right property was 60%. A lot of it has to do, so in California even more so, the inventory is really low. So you have to keep in mind what's going on in the market. Number 8, how does the millennial buyer find a real estate agent? A, from an inquiry about a specific property viewed online. B, used an agent previously to buy or sell a home. C, referred by a friend, neighbor, or relative.
See.
C. Don't underestimate your sphere of influence. So it's been the most important part of finding a real estate agent in the past. It still is the same today. Number 9, which was the biggest sacrifice made to purchase a home? This is good. So everyone has to guess this one because I'm really curious. A, earned income through a second job. B, cut spending on luxury items or non-essentials. Or C, did not need to make any sacrifices.
B.
I really don't know that answer.
C.
I was gonna say, I bet that they're not a generation that does that, cause we just talked about them not commuting, and that's because they won't give up their work-life balance.
Yeah, that's right. That's part
They're
of it.
just a generation that has better boundaries, I think, than my generation did. I have a lot more respect for, apparently, I don't know who wrote this, but I think they got their crap together a lot better than us, Generation X.
Yeah, I agree. I think they have better balance.
They have better boundaries, yeah, balance, and yeah,
So,
we work too hard.
let's see. Where was
Number
I?
9,
So 48% did not need to make any sacrifices. Now understand, it's relative. So maybe the parents aren't giving them money for the down payment, but maybe the parents have paid for their education. Maybe the parents have bought them a car. Maybe the family has helped them in other ways. Whereas in the past, maybe that wasn't the case. So C was 48%, cut spending on luxury items or non-essentials, 40%.
40?
48% was to not make any sacrifices. cutting spending on luxury items 40%, earned income through a second
That's
job
close.
9%.
40 and 48 is pretty close.
Yeah, I agree.
But again, they're not gonna work a second job as much, cause it's not work-life balance.
That's right, exactly. And like 5 years ago, there was a big talk, well, all millennials cared about was, having a condo and maybe some art, and then travel Europe. But that's changed, as they've gotten older now, we're starting to see a change in that trend towards, buying a home and buying a puppy and getting married. Number 10, what percentage of millennials have student debt?
40%.
10, B 20, C 40.
40%.
C 46%. What is the average amount of student debt? A, under 10,000, B, 10,000 to 25,000, C, 50 to 75,000.
C.
50 to 75,000. C.
No, it's actually B,
Oh, that's good.
10 to 25%.
Average.
Yeah, average. Under 10,000 was 17%, 10 to 25% was 10 to 25,000 was 33%, 50 to 75,000 was 12%.
Good, that's good.
Yeah, good to know. So, what have we learned from this survey? And I kind of summarized it. Primary reason to buy a home, to own a home of their own. They want newer, but at a good price. They prefer detached over condo. They want to live close because of schools and because of work. They are looking online for properties way before they look for a real estate agent. Most millennials find their home online. Finding the right property is the most difficult step, followed by understanding the process. That's important to know, because if you go and look at the other 38, 40 questions, there's the millennials are all looking for information, because a lot of them haven't bought a home before. So you can go online, you can go to a real estate agent, but that's really important. The millennials they need information, what the buying process is all about. So keep that in mind. Most agents are referred by a friend. Millennials don't need to make any sacrifice. More than 40% owe over $10,000 in student debt. So that was kind of the summary. Other findings about millennials. And then, there's one more. I just saw it today, so I wrote down source of down payment.
Parents.
You have nothing to look at. Source of down payment.
Parents.
Anyone else?
Parents and loan,
And what?
and the loan,
Okay, and loan.
They get a loan for the down payment.
or borrow.
No, they
Source
just,
of down payment, believe it or not, for young millennials, 87% was savings, for young millennials. For
Really?
older millennials, it was only 73%.
That's impressive.
Second source of down payment was what we would expect, gift from friend or family member, which was 25%. No surprise, but it was interesting that I would have thought gift from, the parent or a relative was
So the
high.
young millennials, 82%,
87.
87.
And the older-
82% for the older millennials.
Older,
That's
73. 73.
That's really impressive. I wonder what it was for baby boomers.
I don't think it was that high, no way.
I don't think my generation was saving that way. They should have been, but I don't
But
think
we
they
were buying sooner too. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about baby boomers.
So you're
I've
getting
already-
married sooner, you're having kids
Kids
sooner,
sooner.
everything.
But I bought a house long before I got married. Yeesh.
Well,
I'm curious if you read anything on the millennials at least in California, that need a dual income in order to purchase.
yeah, that didn't come up in any of the questions, because it was a national NRA. I don't need to
I
look
think
to see it.
that's much bigger than any other generation, right?
Yeah,
Needing dual income, like,
I
yes,
think
It's-
price point though, right?
yeah.
I would agree, that would be a great question for
even
California.
across the US, I think it's everywhere.
You would think so, yeah, because, price of homes are going up, but not quite. like California. Other findings about millennials. Millennials, these are just takeaways, 4 things to remember. Millennials are looking for the finished product and will pay for it. Which means if you're dealing with somebody that's 60 years old, they need to know the biggest percentage of buyers, which is 37%, are millennials, and millennials are looking for a finished product and will pay for it. They don't want to fix it up.
So it's moving ready.
Yeah, kind of moving ready, and you know, the kitchen looks like crap, I mean, that's gonna be.
But it also is a huge advertisement for staging, yes?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I would agree. Make it look new and fresh, because that's what millennials are looking for. Millennials were also found, I don't know about this, but I'm just gonna say, because millennials were also found to move once every 2 years, which, Gen X 4 years and baby boomers 6 years, and that was from Realtor.com. I don't know.
Wait, say that again, millennials
Selling?
That was probably.
Moving.
once every
Yeah.
2 years.
Gen X every 4 years and baby boomers every 6 years.
So is that
Maybe
renting? Has to be for
It's
renting.
gotta be renting. They didn't say, so it's
I
like,
mean, young ones,
just
yeah,
moving, you're
maybe.
right. It
Has to
doesn't,
be moving.
we're not talking about just home buying it, we're talking about moving, which could be renting, moving to the Europe, I don't know. Number 3, preferences. Preferences for young or old millennial. 5 or 4 home characteristics. Hardwood front exterior, so not brick. Walk-in pantry, which, you know,
That was so big. I
That
was
was a
in
baby
open house
boomer
yesterday.
thing.
It was like
Oh, yeah.
everybody was amazed by the walk-in
and
picture.
they want the walk-in pantry. Front porch, you know, good luck finding that in California. And a table space for eating.
Really?
Yeah, those are the top 4.
Interesting.
Last one was millennials, although square footage matters to the home, millennials are more concerned about closeness to schools and work. So more important than square footage, maybe not more important than that it be in good shape and ready to move into, is the concern for closeness to schools and work. They want convenience, I mean, that's what it comes down. So if you're dealing with buyers that are, you know, in that in that age group, 21 to 39, you know, it gives you a good idea, okay, where do you live now and where do you work, and really concentrate there, and don't start looking at South County maybe, or if they live in this area. So those are the ones, the takeaways that I have, and any questions?
Thank you, that's great information.
The NRA survey, the full survey is pretty interesting, so if you want it, just send, we have our business card there with our email. Just send it to me and I'll send you the link. And it doesn't take very long to read, it's like 10 pages, but it's real simple. And then you can also look, if you want further elaborations on the 11 questions and answers that I gave, it's on there, so.
I think something to think about too is, you know, this millennial generation being such a key thing for real estate moving forward now is, I mean, a lot of the millennials have social media, right? So I just went to this big social media convention, and the top 2 avenues were using YouTube and Instagram. Those are the top 2, and not really Facebook anymore, just getting too complex on there. So as long as you have a presence and you're marketing yourself and putting information that would be valuable for us millennial generation to know, is using YouTube and Instagram. So just keep that in mind. That's where people are searching for things.
Good. Yeah. And there's a couple of questions. There's questions about mortgage and how much and where are they getting it from, bigger lenders or smaller lenders and so forth. But any questions about millennials? Do we like millennials any more or less? Because you better start liking them, because they're going to be a big part of the buying process and eventually the selling process. So remember, Gen X is the big sellers. And,
What would be nice to know is who millennials like buying from, age-wise. if they have a tendency to buy, cause
I
when I.
don't remember seeing that, but that's a good question.
It would just be, it would just be fascinating, would they rather buy from like a peer? Like a peer-to-peer type purchase, or are they looking for somebody a little bit older with experience in their mind?
Well, first, over 60%, they've already already found their home. So
Yeah.
now who do they want to deal with? Because you have to remember where they're really weak is they don't have a lot of experience, and they might have the money, the savings, as we've heard, but they don't have the expertise. That's where they need a good real estate agent. So they might opt for an older agent because they are looking for, sound advice, the process. They're trying to understand what it takes to buy a property. So anyway, keep that in mind. It's just food for thought, and
Thank you.
I thought it was interesting, so I wanted to share it with you. Thank
That was
you.
great, thanks.
Thank you. Lindsay, are you gonna
Yeah, we're gonna go into the app.
property app?
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay.
And bigger question is, what kind of dog is the millennial buying?
The pug,
The pug?
pug, the French bulldog,
Frenchie, a
I have two.
Frenchie.
French bulldog, golden retriever, believe it or not, golden retriever.
Lindsay,
Yeah.
what kind did you get?
Chocolate lab.
Oh, cute.
Golden doodle,
Yeah.
Yeah, the doodles.
it's kind of a family dog.
It was donated, apparently.
I have a Bichon Frise Shih Tzu mix, and that's very out. Very out.
Yeah, no, that's so yesterday, it's so
I have
10
that
years ago.
Apparently,
Wouldn't even pet it.
I know, right? Good to know, Michael.
I love dogs.
Funny. Okay, so we're gonna shift and transition into our mobile app, which is called My First Dam. Is anybody using this currently? Have you seen it at all?
I lost my
Your login?
password.
Is that how it's called on the application?
Yeah, so what I would suggest, because you're all gonna love it anyways, is to download it on your app store right now. It's an app and there's a website. But yes, it's called My First Dam, all one word. And the basic idea behind this is to get property profiles ordered, get a lot of property data and characteristics. It does have a farming feature in it, and it also has the ability to get school information, which is really nice and helpful. We use this all the time, 24/7. We have a offshore team that works in the Philippines, so it's nice when you need information that you're actually getting it from an actual person, not just a robot compiling this information and getting it to your email. And it's available 24/7, obviously. So I'm just gonna go through it so you can kind of see how it works, and then once you have your accounts, it's pretty user friendly, so you just go in and get the hang of it pretty easily. So right away, once you log into your app, it does have a GPS locator on it, so it's gonna automatically pull up where you're actually located, which is great for if you're out driving around with, if you have buyers looking around and you want some information on maybe a property that you see that's listed for sale and you don't happen to have information on hand, you can get a lot of info on the app. Also, if you're out like door knocking, this is a great tool to use for that, and I'll show you how to do that. You can also plug in at the top here, you'll see this bar at the top. You can plug in an actual physical address. What's that? Out of your way.
Not in your way.
You're okay. You can plug in an address there. Also, the little magnifying glass to the right, you have the ability to search by owner name, parcel number, APN, or property address, of course. Also, what's neat too is this, can zoom in, zoom out. You can also get more eye level. If you take your two fingers, you can kind of move that around. But let's just say you wanted information on this home next to the one here. Right now we're looking at this, but let's just say you want that one. You can hold your finger down on there for like 3 seconds, and then that information will pop up there. So, we also, if you can see, I'll X out of this really quick, you can see all these owner names on it, right? So there's a couple of layering features that are pretty cool. The top right icon with the stacked papers over there, if you click that, you can add different layering to it. So if you wanted the acreage or the APN number, the owner name, all of that's available, and it'll start to load in here, but it's a great feature to kind of see from a bird's eye view those parcel numbers or their owner names or whatever you pressed on there. And then to get out of that, you just unclick it. Since I'm in here, I will show you. So that property right there with that red circle is the one that we're basing this off of. And at the very top over here, you're gonna see school zones. So if you click that, you're gonna see this map overlay of the school boundaries that are according to that subject property that we put in. So you can kind of see an overview of that. And that layering icon at the bottom right is where you can uncheck. So if you're just looking for, let's just say the elementary schools, you can just click that. That's gonna load in there and you're gonna see, okay, you have to live within these boundaries to be able to go to Carmel Creek School. It's still showing the middle school, but Solana Pacific. So you can see that there. Also the private schools, I'll zoom out here, will show up in the green icons.
We can't log in without an approval code.
You could just press no approval code.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay.
And then what will happen there is once you fill that out, then we'll get an email, then we process it for you, and then
Okay.
it'll email your login.
Perfect.
So you can click those and see the different private schools around the area. Is that helpful?
Very.
You guys like that? I think what's neat is having this on hand at open houses. Because if you hold an open house and maybe you don't know exactly what schools fall within that area, you can just pull it up really quickly in your app. So I'm just gonna close out that. Any questions on that so far?
Are we able to share the information to the clients?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Also, another thing too, when you go back to this main screen, right here you're gonna see this tab, school information. And if you click that, that kind of summarizes it all on one sheet. You don't necessarily see the map boundary, but you can see them all listed, what schools are there, what districts. And then if you wanted to email yourself the PDF of this, you can do that. That little top arrow in the right-hand corner is where you can email it or save it to your Dropbox or
So that we
Evernote.
could print out.
Yeah, exactly.
It gives the number of students, which I find interesting.
Yeah, school name, address, phone number, grade, number of teachers, number of students. So a lot of helpful info there. And that was under the school information tab. So, any questions on that so far? Pretty easy, right? So I'm gonna go into looking at this property. You're gonna get the basic info up here, the address, the owner name, the APN number, square footage, beds, bath, and year built. And if you click into the first tab for property profile, as that loads in, is where you're gonna get more of the details there. So
I
property.
can't believe it has all this information about like family trusts.
Yeah, it's all public record, so it's
Right,
out there.
Of course.
Something at the top here, you're gonna see the mailing address and the property address. Right away, we know, since those are the same, that it's an owner-occupied property. If they're different, then it's non-owner occupied. Owner names, you can kind of see everything that's listed there.
One of the reasons it's so important to get title insurance is because everything is information you can get off the internet. Addresses, grant deeds, how it's vested, it's all right there, so.
There's the basic, property characteristics, and this is all basically just looking at a one-page report, but when you actually order the property profile, all of this will be included in PDF, and I'll show you how to do that. Here's the sale and loan information there, and you'll see the hyperlink document number that's going to take you to the grant deed, or whatever is showing here. We'll see. Yeah, there we go. So you get that recorded grant deed there. If you need that, if you just wanted a copy of that, the up arrow, you can email it to yourself quickly.
Lindsay, will it just show the last grant deed or the last deed out?
So from here, this page, it'll try to show the last grant deed with the last sale, full value sale. And if it's older than, I think 80s, it'll show the last vesting deed.
Yeah, this one was recorded in
Yeah, it's just-
2011.
Yeah, and that's not a full, is that a full? Oh, yeah.
Let's see here, yeah. So it's telling you the sale date was August 3rd, 2011, so yes, for 666. And then the property tax information is there at the bottom. If you needed the full transaction history, if you wanted to see every refinance that maybe occurred or every sale, all that information's there. And you'll be able to see that here. There's a quick link.
That's great.
So yeah, all of that info will be there, showing who the lender was, all of that. There is the ability to pull sales comps in the area. So it's at the bottom left corner is where you can kind of refine your search or what you're looking for specifically. It auto defaults to 6 months back, but you can change all that. If you wanted to go like maybe 12 months back.
And these are properties sold?
Yes. Update that. Let's see. So all those green pins are those sold properties in the last 12 months
Wow.
that are comparable. And then the top right 3 lines will give you that full list of what that is. Also, go back,
Wow.
the bottom right, generate report. All of that's gonna be listed, but you essentially could email yourself that in like a PDF document. This is also included in the profile when you order it.
So Lindsay, when you try to put in the county, it stops you and doesn't let you like register.
When you're signing up, I'll help you with that.
And he tried too.
Okay,
Just.
I'll
just
look at
as an
that.
FYI, there could be a bug or something.
okay. Let's see, to snap.
Ooh, that's cool.
Sorry, the internet's slow. Alright, oh, I should have gone back. So here, if you wanted to get a visual of the plat map, you can see the parcel number here, so 304-26127. See if I can do this, can I make it bigger? Go. So, does everyone know how to find a parcel on a parcel map like this?
No.
No, okay. Let me go back to the number really quick. So 304 is the first number, is the book. 261 is the page, and 27 is the actual parcel number. So load this back up again. Alright, so the book, you're always gonna find here, you typically, right, on the top right corner. So you're gonna see that 304, it's that first number. Then the 261 is always gonna be in like the center, that big circled number right there in the middle,
Or like a football.
the football. There's your middle number, right? And then the circled number on the actual parcel is the actual parcel number itself, so 27, which is
There, big one.
Up to the right.
Big.
right there. So that's the actual property that we're looking at. Any questions there? Does that make sense? Book page parcel. With that,
The change box, you wanna-
was that
the change box on that. Now, this is a, this is a development, so there's not a lot of changes, but you see, this was the old block 261, now it's still 261. But then, when there's changes, if there's a lot split, or if they consolidate, this box will tell you what's happened. So 58 and 67 on that plat map, now is 68, so it was combined. That was done in 1992, and that's the cut number right here. So that's what that box is, just so you.
So the three first number, 3 or 4 is the indication of what?
The book.
The book.
Oh, the book. And
It's
then
book,
And then
book, page,
Parcel.
and then
oh,
parcel.
page. And
Book,
then-
page, and
oh,
parcel.
Okay, thank you.
So there's actually 8 digits. We only, well,
So if you use the last 2 digits, that's for a condo. If you have a condo, then you'll see 2 more digits on the parcel number.
but single family there's 8 digits of 00.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna show you how to order a profile, because that's the main thing here. Let's go down. So on this main page here, you wanna order that property profile, and you can order as many as you need, 24/7. You wanna just, at the bottom here, click Order Customer Service. And then right there in the center, you're gonna see Property Profile Package, right there. You wanna check that, it's gonna include everything that we kinda went through on one PDF copy, and then just place your order at the bottom there, and that gets to your email typically within like 20 minutes, sometimes a lot sooner. So again, there's actual people compiling that information, that data, and emailing that to you. So again, we always use this all the time. If you didn't want the full profile, let's just say you wanted a copy of the CC&Rs. At the bottom here, in the special instructions box, you can just type in, please send a copy of CC&Rs, and then place your order, and that will get to you. So that's really helpful. A lot of times we get asked for like Mello-Roos information, so you can just order the tax roll on here, and that Mello-Roos information is going to be listed there. Anything else, Bill or Mike, that you can think of?
You know, I just think that if you're looking at this, we try to think of how can I use this to get more business. So if you've got nothing going on, you're at an open house, someone comes in, say, oh, I live down the street, and you have a conversation, maybe you get their phone number, you could run a property profile on their house and send it to them as a thank you for coming. Here's everything that's, on your property. Or if you have a client that says, oh, I just drove by a property, it looks like it's run down. Well, what can we find out? I would go to a property profile. See how long have they lived there? Are they non-owners? Do they live out of state? Is there a default on the property? Those kinds of things. If someone says, hey, I saw on Zillow that this property was in default, come back to our app, order a profile. The thing with our profile, it shows all the open loans on the property. So if you go to like CRS, it'll show you refinance.
Yeah.
You don't know which ones are currently open or
Yeah.
which ones are
Oh.
paid off. The only way to know beyond getting a preliminary title report is getting a profile. So if you get a profile, it's gonna show you the actual deeds of the deed of trust. So you'll go through the report and you'll see, okay, a deed of trust, here's the recorded document. It doesn't give you the whole recorded document, thankfully. It only gives you like the first couple of pages, so you don't have a 100-page profile. So you go through, you see deed of trust. Okay, we know that one's probably still open. You keep going, and maybe there's a modification on a deed of trust, or you keep going, maybe there's another deed of trust there. So the profile shows a lot of information. It shows if there's a notice of default or a notice of sale, that document will actually be in the report. It'll have mechanics liens, it'll have loan mods, all that kind of stuff is in the profile. So
That's cool.
before you even get into escrow or write an offer, you know a ton of information about this property. So I would just kind of think about how can I use this free tool, to get more business. So if it's just having a conversation with a client, oh, let me run a profile on that property and see what's going on. Nobody else knows that a property's run. It's all private, it's all public information. It only goes to you. So, use it as much as you can. And then when you're, if you're walking, anybody door knock here? Trying to, maybe this year will be the year that we door knock in here.
I've had people come to my house door knocking, agents.
Yeah, it's good enough for them. Hey,
Yeah,
come on, let's do it.
and they've gotten business in my neighborhood from it, so.
We know that door knocking works. We know that. So if you're hesitant about doing it, get somebody that you're friendly with in the office, team up, and go out and knock on doors. But if you go door knocking, if you put your finger on the door that you're about to knock on, right? We haven't printed out anything yet, but we could. You could ask us for lists before you go out. But let's say you haven't. So if you're just starting fresh, and you know the Swaggles. Sounds like a kid's story.
Like Wiggles.
The Swiggles. We know it's in a family trust, right? If you click on property profile while you're on the curb, if you scroll down to the bottom here, we see that the sale date has nothing. Okay, so there's nothing there. Let's go to transaction history because we want to find out some information. So here. Buyer, Swaggles family. Now we know the next line it says William and Leda, L-E-D-A, Swaggles. So now we know their first names, right? And we know who they are. If we scroll down, let's scroll to the bottom and see let's try to figure out when the Swaggles bought it. Let's keep going. Because on the first, here we go. There's Scott Swaggles. Oh, Scott Swaggles and William. It's different. Okay, let's keep going. So we know, Larry Little, Scott Swaggles. Oh, Scott Swaggles bought it in '99. Okay, so keep going. Here we go. And then here's William Swaggles getting on title in '99. So regardless, when they bought it, they've owned it for a long time, 20 years at least, right? So before we knock on the door, we already know their names and how long they've been there. So that can kind of tailor our conversation. So instead of, hey, welcome to the neighborhood, it's, hey, you guys have been here a long time, right? Right? So immediately you kind of try to set up a rapport, a little bit of trust. You've found out some information about them, and so that'll steer your conversation one way or the other. So
How about they're renting?
right, if you go back to the profile part, and if we hit property profile, at the top it has the mailing address and property address. So they're the same,
Yeah.
so we assume that they live there.
They live there, yeah.
We
but
assume.
When they're different, there's a
When
tenant living in that
When they're
property.
different, we assume that somebody is renting. Yeah, okay?
So it
Yeah.
doesn't say like rented out or anything?
It doesn't say nothing. We go off of everything that's recorded.
Okay.
So it wouldn't say if somebody, moves in. If you close that, you can also look at, just looking at the farming tool, there's a pencil. At the very top right, there's a pencil, and if you click on the pencil, then you can draw
A shape.
a shape. That's the best shape we can.
Whenever you do
So-
it seems very easy.
Right.
The moment I want to do it, I don't know what happens.
Now, you do have to practice a little bit. So I would go in, you have some downtime, practice. So go in, see what the buttons do. You can't break it, all right? And you can't mess it up. So go in and practice and see what you can get.
Also, I'll exit out real quick.
Okay.
You always want to make sure you're zoomed out, right? Because if you're too zoomed in, you're going to not be able to fully see the area that you want. But you can even just start little by little. Like if you press the icon there, and you're like, okay, I know I want to at least hit, this area, right? And it pulls up.
So the green is owner occupied, and the blue dots are non-owner occupied. Okay? And if you saw a dot that had a red circle around it, those people have a default on their property. Okay? So if you're looking for a default, or someone says, oh, there's a default in Carmel Valley on the north side of Delmar Heights. Okay. So you can go into this and start looking around for it. And so mainly this is designed to help you have more conversations with clients. Okay, so this is a tool that you can use. Now we all use it all day. So if you're out and about, you can text us, hey, send me a profile, send me all the loans on this property. You can absolutely text us, and we're happy to help with that.
One thing too, so if you see like this area I drew up and then number 39 right here, I accidentally grabbed it. If you want to get rid of that and not count it, just tap on it and uncheck it. The top right.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and
Nice.
then it'll change the count at the top. You know it was taken out. Also, the little filter icon on the far right underneath the little paper layers, this one, you click there, that's where you can get really creative with your filtering. You want to get residential properties, let's just say you just want to knock on the owner-occupied doors. It's only going to show you those green pins, and it's 72 out of 78 are owner-occupied.
So the blue is the renters.
The
Yes.
non-owner occupied
Yes.
properties, yeah.
And show them
So
turnover.
that could be good too, like, okay, I see you're renting, you
Mhm.
know. here's
Exactly.
the good-
Before you knock on the door, if they're different, and you know
You can
Mr.
be like-
Jones lives there, and this guy.
And you have a property in that community, you could be
Mhm.
like, this one is comparable,
Mhm.
you know.
Exactly.
Mhm.
The little 3 lines at the top next to the up arrow, if you click that, and this will get easier the more you play with it, you're gonna see a little pie chart that will tell you the turnover. Looking at the last 12 months, only 1 sold out of the 77 homes, so it's 1% turnover. If you're looking at a bigger area and you kind of want to just see a couple areas that are having a little bit better turnover, this is a really quick way to just run searches. But that list here of all those properties is listed for you. That's easy to see. Another cool thing too is, let's say you're door knocking, right? And you knock on Charles and Paula's door and they were terrible to you and they said never come back here again, which they hopefully wouldn't. If you click that little pin, you can customize your pin colors. So I can say like, okay, do not contact in red, right? So, oops. And save. It should update, but
You can export all this data too. You can send this to yourself. You can also use it for mailing, but if you're gonna mail to a neighborhood or multiple neighborhoods, we really suggest you call us because what we do, we'll map it all out just like this, but we have people that clean up records. So we go through, we remove duplicates, we remove anything that's owned by a bank or an association, and we also change the trust. So if it says Smith Family Trust 1995, we change it to the Smith family. So there's a little data massaging happening on our end, and it's a really quick turnaround. So if you ever want to do a mailer, let us know. We can.
I
we
was
can do
hoping to get some of that today, from you guys.
it. Yeah, absolutely.
And you do all over San Diego or just in North County?
Yeah, we do all over. So
Okay.
actually, we can. So we only call on agents that are in Del Mar, Solana Beach, Carmel Valley, Rancho Santa Fe. That's where we call on agents. But a lot of our agents do business all over.
Okay.
So we can help you with any property. We do transactions for properties in LA, Orange County. We can do them here in our San Diego office.
Mhm.
Most of California we can do here locally.
Right.
So yeah, it doesn't
So
matter.
this and this works for all over San
This is
Diego?
nationwide.
Okay.
This is actually nationwide property. So if you're looking, we get a lot of requests for, guys coming in from Chicago. I want to verify that he owns this property
Mhm.
back there before he buys here.
And we could also get like, for farming information, like I live in South County, so
Mhm.
we can get
Mhm.
information down there.
Absolutely,
Okay.
and we've got, along with this, we've got really good area neighborhood maps that are all color-coded
Okay.
by parcel, by neighborhood, so, let's get together
Okay,
and get
cool.
those maps for you, because that can help plan.
Thank you.
So if you do want to customize your pins, you just want to make sure you tap the color and check it. You'll see a little check mark in the orange. Label it whatever you want and then press save, and then that will change that. And that stays like that. When you save your farm, next time you load it back up, it'll always be there. And you can always change that out too. It also goes hand in hand with Evernote. So if you use Evernote, which is free, you can store your notes in My First Dam and Evernote allows you to do a lot more with it. If you want to take photos of the property, if you want to do speak notes, if you want to draw, whatever you want. There's lots of different ways that you can save more information about that home as you're out door knocking, let's say. If you're door knocking with another agent, you can email each other your notes so you both have them. But there's kind of a lot you can do in that, and that's best to just play around with that once you
It's really
get logged in.
Mhm.
Make sure that you save, if you drop a farm, you wanna save it. That will allow you to have up to 8 farms in there. I literally test this a lot. So it's gonna ask you to name your farm. I'll just do test. Oops, I already have a test in there.
Even if you wanted to screenshot this area that you like, just screenshot it and you can email it to one of us and we'll run data for you. Yeah. We also do labels, mailing labels.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, at the top right, you can also export the farm. That's where you'll save it. That's where you can load it back up. So, but again, we always like, if you're gonna do a mailer, to just go through our farming department because we clean our records, like Phil was saying. So, it's best to do it that way.
Did you explain what clean the records?
Yeah,
Okay,
he
you
did.
okay.
Real quick, the top left corner, the 3 little lines, kind of gets you that dashboard key. Load save farms there, that's where those are all gonna load up. It's gonna tell you the last time that you logged in to that farm. We can click back into it, the one we just drew up, and that will load back up and see how it changed the pins. So it always stores that info in there. And that's that.
Do you like this? Do you think you can use it?
Yeah, I'm excited
Yeah?
to play with it.
That's really
Yeah.
nice.
One last thing I'll just briefly touch on is costs first, at the very bottom. If you want to calculate net sheets, like seller closing costs, you can do that through costs first. It auto defaults the property tax information. You just kind of plug in, if there's a loan, what that amount is, what the rate is, and then it auto defaults the First American title fees and escrow fees, but you can always change that out so you can get an estimate for your client in there.
Does anybody get Melrose questions? Does that come up ever? So Melrose, you can order a profile and it comes in on the tax page. The Melrose, it'll show you the yearly amount, okay? And sometimes there's multiple assessments. If you need to know when those assessments expire, you have to call us.
So it's not in there.
It's not in there. Yeah, there's hundreds and hundreds of Melrose assessments that are out there.
It's too
And
hard to harvest, I would think.
there's a huge directory that we have. So every Melrose assessment has a firm, an accounting firm that tracks everything. So we call the accounting firm and say, okay, when does this expire? They tell us. Then we ask them, oh, is there a prepayment option? Usually they charge you a dollar amount to calculate the payoff of what it is if somebody wants to prepay it.
Oh, can you pay off a Melrose?
Sometimes you can. Yeah, most of the time you can prepay.
But we don't know the duration of the Melrose, do we?
We can tell you.
You can,
Yeah,
because I always tell them you can refer to the city.
Right. Yeah, ask us
Yeah.
because
Okay.
if a client's asking you for a question,
Yeah.
yeah, it's great to be able to get the answer for them. So we
Okay.
can get it for you.
So what's based on your experience, what's the minimum expiration?
Usually, well, it starts from when the home is built, and usually it's 20 to 30
20 to
years.
30 years.
Some of them can renew themselves. So after the end of 20 years, they can actually renew themselves.
Is there like some sort of matrix that?
No,
you
unfortunately,
come out with and
no.
say like we're gonna have to renew them?
Yeah,
Or it's
no,
it just happens?
you just have to kind of call on each one. Yeah, so if the question comes up, just call us and we'll get all the details for you. Yeah.
Cool.
Is there
Awesome,
different?
thank you.
Is there different mailer rules that I noticed that there's some that are incorporated in the regular tax bill?
Yeah, you will always see it in the tax bill.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
not like a separate tax bill. They're always incorporated. in
Correct.
that.
Correct. Yeah, you'll always see it there, and it'll always be in red on our tax roll page in the property profile. Yeah.
Yeah, so that total amount is paid semi-annually
That's what it
with
is.
the property.
Yeah.
taxes.
semi-
Are we done?
Yeah,
guys did
we're
awesome.
done. Yeah, just let us know if we can
Awesome.
help you with anything when it comes to title. We'd love to work with you all.
Thank you.
Thank you for being
so
here.
much.
It is-